Welcome to Speak Your Truth. Today we're joined with our guest Charles Brewton, aka Rich Moines Diesel, and our guest BJ Bryant. We're here to talk about mass incarceration and felon rights and the advocate for change for the youth. Chuck, would you like to tell us about your journey as far as your obstacles you had to go through as far as the mass incarceration and the different things you had to go through being in prison?
Yeah, let me start off by saying this. When I talk, I'm taking full responsibility for my actions of what I done to start this off, okay? As a people, we gotta take responsibility for what we're doing. We're doing things and putting ourselves in these bad situations that's giving them the ability to treat us a certain way when we get there. Us as a people, just doing better as a people towards one another. I'm not worried about a Caucasian killing me if I have jewelry on or something nice on. I got to worry about my own trying to get me. So with that being said, my journey was about me making up my mind that when I was locked up that I didn't want to go through the same thing. I didn't want to stay locked up. I wanted something different. I didn't want to be back and forth. I knew I could do better. Like all that time I did 12 years in prison. And when I was in there, before I got out, I knew that I did not want to come back. So my mind was set on coming out here doing the right thing. When I made it to the halfway house, I wasn't thinking about drinking alcohol, smoking weed, or sleeping with women. I was just focused on getting my life together. And during that journey, there was certain hurdles that I had to go around with myself and with the system, because it's all about them making money. And, keeping you in a bind to keep you in that circulation of going back to the joint, then getting back out on the streets, getting in trouble again, and just that whole process that makes them money. So during my journey, when I got out of prison, I immediately got me a job. I was focused on working, and I ended up getting my CDL truck driver license. So when I was working my job, I had to go to school for truck driving 8 hours out of the day, and then to turn around and go to work for 10 and a half hours out of the day, which for 6 weeks I only got from 2 hours to 45 minutes of sleep. And I was back out the door. After I got my CDL, I moved up through the ranks of the steps they make you go through when you're at the halfway house. I can't really remember. I know it's like level 1 to 6 or something like that. And I went through my levels smoothly. And during that time, I just made sure that I stayed out of the halfway house. As long as, I try to keep myself busy. I always try to line it up to where when I was at the halfway house, it was for me to go to sleep, wake up, get dressed, and leave. So, during that journey, me getting my checks, one of the things that, that really upsetted me one time is, while you're out trying to get your life together, you get an outfit and $100 when you walk out, the clothes on your back and $100 that they save up. And, when you come out, you get a job, you're not instantly getting paid. So, you got to borrow money from people. And I remember this one time I had put in to get a certain amount of money so I could pay some people back because they had borrowed me some money. And my counselor ended up taking my money and putting it towards the rent for me to catch up. We sat down and we made a strategy on how I was going to, catch up on my rent. I get paid this much, and by this time or by the end of the month or the next month, I'd be caught up. But they end up taking my money. And I remember me and him got into an argument, and it kind of ended with, him telling me to calm down because I started to get a little crazy with him because I was frustrated. But, you know, that's when I understood, like, these people want their money. And if I want my freedom, I just got to give them that money. I just got to, suck it up, bite that bullet and, let them get their money and just work around that. So a lot of challenges I went through, I just really worked around, but it didn't come easy,
Definitely. Thanks for sharing with us, brother. BJ, could you kind of enlighten us a little bit about your personal journey as far as being incarcerated, your transition after being incarcerated, and how it impacted your life?
Well, how it impacted my life is what they had set up for me is what they have set up for everyone. And it's not for you to succeed. I succeeded against all odds. I mean, I did all that time in prison, 13 and a half years. And I thought that, as long as I get out and stay on the right path, that would be sufficient enough for them. And that's what they wanted from me. But one thing I realized as I was out here is that was not the key for them. The key for them is recidivism or a violation or even a faulty violation. It doesn't matter. Just anything to get you back into the system, because that's what creates more jobs for them. And that's what gets more prisons built for them. And that's what proves more of their theories of how we will never change. The thing about it is what they're doing in the prison system is not working as far as treatments. You got a guy going through treatment 4 and 5 different times for the same treatment class, but it's not working. It's not working because he cannot change until he's ready to change. Same thing with me or Mr. Charles Brewton or anyone else who has been successful out here after doing extensive amount of time in prison. You something has to click in your mind. You got to be tired of being tired. It is not the classes in there that change you. But they use that class as a weapon against you, saying, well, you're not going to get out until you complete this class. And they hang that over your head. So, you have to do the class and you have to tell them pretty much everything they want to hear, which is nothing but manipulation, which is something they teach us not to do. They're saying that they don't want us to manipulate. And if we are manipulative, they'll put that in the generic note and say, oh, he's very manipulative, but you make me manipulate you in order to pass these anger management classes, drug class, domestic abuse class. You make me tell you lies in order to pass the class. And then you turn around and you punish me for being manipulative. So it's an ongoing cycle. There is no right or wrong way that an inmate can do things to a certain degree, because one thing that I remember in there is that when I was right, I was wrong. And when I was wrong, I was wrong. So it's just like it's a one-way thing. I could never really connect with any of my counselors because half of them used to be correctional officers, so they weren't genuine, and you could tell that they were not genuine about their job. Now, I took counseling therapy, the introduction to counseling therapy in college, and I've seen all of the different tactics and the different approaches that you can use with people, and I seen that the one that they were using is one that does not work effectively with people who are incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? So the theory that they were using was one that is not going to create any good results. So, and that made me stick to my stomach to learn, to get out and get educated and to go to school for what they were going to school for, to learn how to treat me and to learn how to treat me in a way to where it would not be productive. Now, the only person that was using the Rogers theory that is one of the most effective theories in counseling was this program called IFI. It was called Interchange Freedom Initiative, started by Chuck Colson, and I believe it was in Texas where it first started. They were using that theory. And the first thing that I can feel when I got to that prison in that program. I could feel love, something I never felt in Fort Dodge Correctional Facility, because that place was treacherous when I was there. They called it the Gladiator School. It was wilder than Fort Madison because they had a lot of youngsters there, and it was a new prison, and they didn't really know how to run it. So it was mayhem every day. It was fights every day. So when I got to that place, I just felt so much love there, and I was so used to not feeling love. I thought that these people had an angle, because PTSD. You see, so a lot of us who do mass incarceration, we form PTSD, but they don't really look at it like that. I'll put it like this: for people who are in the military, when they get out of the military, they'll get more of a benefit of the doubt than us people who are incarcerated. But it's really about the same. I mean, you're going into a war zone, and you got to fend for yourself. You have to protect yourself. You may get killed. You may not. You don't know. You go through traumatic experiences in there. It's every man for himself. Dog eat dog. Stuff that a lot of people aren't used to. You see people get victimized. You may see somebody get raped. That stuff traumatizes you. Then when you get out here, they did not even prepare you to get back off into this world that you came from, because you weren't born in prison. But when you're in there for so long, you're so disconnected from the world that you have to relearn all these things. Like when I got to the Fort Des Moines work release, a guy came up to me. I always use this example because it shows you how messed up you can get in there. A guy came up to me and said, "Hey man, how you doing?" So I said, "I'm doing all right." But I didn't want to talk to him because I didn't know him. In prison, you don't just walk up to people and start talking to them. And he said, "I'm John." So I'm like, "Okay, and I don't care what your name is, and I don't know you, because I'm in prison mode still, because I just did 13 and a half years." And he was like, so I went to walk off to get away from him. And he said, "Hey." So I turned around and I said, "I'm John." I said, "Oh, you've never been in prison before. You just was sentenced to the work release. So, you don't know how this stuff goes. You're trying to introduce yourself to me. I get it. Okay. Well, I'm Bruce." But I had to go through all that stuff just to tell him my name. I was not going to tell him my name because I don't know you. That's just one example. I'm walking through Walmart. People are touching me and bumping me. No one got me ready for this stuff in there. No one told me this stuff's going to happen. No one told me that I was going to be blatantly disrespected and that I was going to have to know how to deal with that after being in prison for so long and having a certain type of status and people knowing who you are and knowing not to come at you in certain ways. When you get out here, all that stuff's out the window. No one knows who you are. No one cares. And you have to, it's like a light switch. You got to flip over if you're going to survive out here, because you'll be back in jail for something petty. It's that the rules change. Officer get on my nerves in prison. And I can tell him, "Hey man, shut up and just get away from my door. Get away from my door." Now you come out here to the work release, they get on your nerves, just like he said. You got to calm down. You can't be. You're about to go back to prison here, all because they told you to shut up and you told them to shut up. You told them, "No, who you telling me to shut up? You shut up. You don't talk to me like you must not know who I am. You better go check the kiosk and go look in the icon and look up my file and see my reputation, and then come back and talk to me." That stuff does not apply out here. It does not. Just like that. "Oh, you want to get crazy? We're going to call you're out of here. You're going back to Polk County." And then they're going to decide whether they're going to let you, are you going to be, it's like timeout when you do with a kid. Are you going to be good now? You're reduced down to this, you're back. We got you back in our grasp. Now you're back to reality. Okay. You cannot be like that out here. So, I went through the minimum facility. I'm like, they didn't prepare me for this. I went through work readiness. I went through all this stuff that was supposed to prepare me to get back out here, and they did not do that. I was running into stuff. I'm like, man, no one told me about this. No one got me prepared for this. So actually, we need something like that out here. But this is the thing, it cannot be taught by people who have not been in prison, because you don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
What you're talking about is from an outward appearance. You're living on the outside watching us on. I don't care if you've been a PO for 30 years. If you didn't do 10, 15, 20 years in prison, you do not know what I'm going through. All you know is what you've seen other people go through, but you haven't been through it yourself. So you don't know what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. I've been in prison. I've been single for 10 years. I have to get out here and learn how to treat a woman all over again. And I'm still going through it with my wife. She's talking about, I don't like the way you're talking to me. I'm not used to someone saying that to me. In prison, I talk how I talk. You don't like to do something, I go to the hole, we fight, whatever. Now I'm out in the real world and I'm with my wife or I'm with my kids, and yeah, they don't have to like how I'm talking. And I have to come to realization like, hey, you have to apologize. Something I'm not used to doing. Because in prison, you stand by. Yeah, that's the thing in there. You stand on what you say. That's it. And you live by that for 13, 15 years. And then you get out here, it's not about standing on what you say. It's about being considerate of others' feelings. Something that is not really, that's not the thing in there. It's hey, my bubble, you know me. Hey, don't disrespect me and everything will be fine. So when you get out here, no, that's not how this goes. But like I said, I was not prepared, and they didn't even have a class to even teach me to be prepared for this. And then the ones that are teaching the classes, you got a counselor who has the shortest fuse out of all the staff members teaching a calm class, anger management. So what can I receive from you from this class when I know you yourself have you have an anger problem? So I'm not going to receive really nothing that you're saying, because it doesn't seem like it's coming from a real genuine place. You see what I'm saying? It's just like a rapper who's been in the streets for real. The people who are in the streets are going to feel Little Bootsy and Young Jeezy, because they can tell that they've really been through that stuff that they're talking about. And if they can see if it's a rapper who has never been through this stuff, there's a disconnect between the street people and them, because they can tell that you're just doing this stuff for show. It's the same thing with prison and with these staff members who we're dealing with. When we get out and we're in these situations, we don't have anyone that we can really connect, that can understand what we're going through. And you're holding $100 from me at the work release. Like he said, I need that $100. I have to pay this bill. You know what I mean? And they don't care. You know what I'm saying? So one thing that I realized when I did get to the work release is that I was not out of their grasp yet. You see what I'm saying? So then another thing when I realized when I got out of the work release and I got to parole, one thing I realized also is that I'm not out of their grasp yet. And then when I got off parole and I discharged, I started seeing other things, and I started to realize again, I'm not out of their grasp yet. Because how do people who discharge reoffend? It's because they get comfortable thinking that they've paid their dues to society, when in reality you never are done paying your dues to society. But you're never done paying your dues because they're never done bringing up what you did in the past. That's for one.
Yeah.
There's a person at my church that was about to lose a kid. We didn't want the kid to go into the system, so we were going to adopt a kid. And they said, you guys can't adopt this kid at this household because of your past record of your felony. And so I said, well, I'm discharged and I'm trying to pay my debt to society by doing this. But you're stopping me from paying my debt to society. So it's like an oxymoron. It's like I'm darned if I do and I'm darned if I don't. That's why Chucky, at some point in time, we were talking about starting this thing called the real second chance. Because the second chance that they're talking about, it's not really a real one. It's more like one for show, but it's not what's really going on, and no one really wants to talk about what needs to be talked about. They just want to sweep that under the rug. They only want to talk about recidivism, but there are a lot of people that are going back for phony, false, and petty violations, and they'll hold you in there for 2-3 years before you can get back out. So, but they don't talk about that. They don't count those numbers. They do not count those numbers. for that, because I've learned this when I was going to college, and I had to interview 2 or 3 different people, and I picked my PO on purpose because I know he didn't like me. So I picked him on purpose because I knew that he had to say yes because he has to act like he likes me. So I said, hey, I'm doing this thing in college and I have to interview 3 people for my interviewing class, and I would like to know if you would be one of my candidates. Sure. So so for the first time, he's in my grasp and I get to ask you questions. And yeah, so but like I was saying, he told me in that, what I learned in that is that recidivism and violations are 2 separate things. And when people are violated and put back in prison, that number is not counted towards recidivism. It's separate. And that's what they sweep under the rug, and what the public does not know anything about these numbers on violation. They're sending people back for some of I'm talking about the pettiest things, like you said you were here at 10 o'clock, but it says you were here at 11 o'clock. Okay, that's violent. Okay, we're going to give you one more chance. Well, it seems like you're messing up on your job. You say you were at your job, but you weren't at your job. You're OPA. You're going back to prison. Okay, you messed up, but you're going back to prison for that. They don't talk about that. All they talk about is felons creating doing new crimes, committing new crimes. They don't talk about how the PO don't like this inmate, got something out against this inmate, and they fabricated and made up lies to get him incarcerated, right back into the system. And you have to fight them when you go back in there through parole revocation hearings, or PRH, or different things like that, trying to get back out here. And that stuff can take a year and a half. If you do beat it, it could take a year and a half, 2 years. I've been through it. So, and it's just another game to discourage you and to kill your mind. And that's what they tried to do to me in there. That's one thing I realized, what they were trying to do to me, and they were trying to kill my mind through meds, through psychological meds, the meds that affect the psyche. And they were never able to do it to me. But they get a lot of people that way, and they're dependent upon those meds once they get out. And sometimes there's no reverse once you get hooked on certain meds,
Like an addiction?
Yeah, it becomes an addiction, especially if they give you a pill that helps you sleep, that knocks you out, because all you're trying to do is escape prison time anyway. Right. That makes it hard for you to, when you get out here, they'll keep you prescribed, and you want to stay prescribed anyway because your body is adjusted to it. They got so many mind-killing drugs in there that they prescribe you. They even outlawed a couple of them because they're just treacherous. Seroquel is one of them. They outlawed it. It was a mind-killing drug. And I'll see guys in there vibrant. Next thing you know, they're walking around like a zombie. I'm like, hey, Darion. And he just act like I didn't hear his name. I'm like, hey, that ain't how I remember you. I'm like, they got him. There's so many things that go on in there that no one talks about. And really, no one really cares, because us inmates, we don't get that. A lot of people look at it as like, you're getting what you deserve. You're being punished. Okay, well, I did my time now. Can I get a job? Can you not make it so hard for me to find a place to live? You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, I understand the system and how it goes because I've been through it. But like I said, I'm talking about this real second chance. At one point in time, Charles Brewton was pushing that. But we need to start back pushing that.
I still am.
Okay.
And I got something to say about that.
Go ahead.
Now, that's one thing that they do to hold us back, is when we do a crime, right? They hold it against us for the rest of our lives.
My gosh.
So no matter what we're doing, we always got this thing, this ceiling that we can't get around, because they're always going to say, oh, you got a record. But I'm going to talk about me and BJ's situation, okay? Now, I had just turned 18. When we did our crime that we take full responsibility for. Yep,
full responsibility.
I was 18. I just turned 18. It was a month and a half. After a month and a half, I turned 18. Or what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that it was When we got locked up, it was a month and a half after my 18th birthday, so I had just turned 18. BJ was 17, wasn't you?
Yep.
And we was going into our senior year of high school, okay? So him being a minor and me being 18, do you know today that if you're 18, you can't buy alcohol, you can't buy cigarettes, you can't have a license to carry a weapon, and you cannot become a police officer. And why is that?
Because they know.
Because they know when you're 18, you're not fully responsible to make the decision to do these certain things. So they make you wait until you're 21. You get some more experience under your belt.
Yep.
So today, they're going to look at us, me and BJ, as stone cold criminals, right? Making the decision when we was 18 and 17 years old. When BJ got his own business, goes to church, got a family, pays his taxes.
Period.
Ain't doing nothing wrong.
Speaking the truth.
He'll speak with young kids, do speeches and stuff like that. Me, myself, same thing. I got my own business, Rich Moines Productions. As you know, we do a lot of community work with our church, food giveaways, diaper giveaways, helping our friends get back in church. Get into church and give their life to God. And when it comes to me having to, let's say that I want to apply for a certain job that I think that's going to help me get ahead, I got to put my criminal record there.
Yep.
So a real second chance is why ain't we able to move this out the way of our background? Real second chance. We're showing that we changed. We do not have the same mind we did when we was 18. We are 20 something years older now. We have a different mind. Why can't our sentence be expunged? Why can't we get this erased from our record? Why can't we have our full rights back? What if I want to become a police officer now and serve my community so none of the youngsters that get pulled over by a Caucasian cop don't get shot? If I became a police officer, I wouldn't shoot none of the kids. Because I could relate to them. I'm not scared of them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Not scared.
Yeah, not scared to where I want to shoot them. I know that they're human beings. And, part of us really being successful, I really think that is a big part of everything. That us that have came out, changed our life, and doing a lot for the community, I feel like all of us should have our sentence expunged. And that when we fill out any application to anything or want to do anything, we shouldn't have to put that on there. And we should have our full rights back. If we want to run for office or whatever. Some of us might have that, but I don't think we do because we had a forcible felony. I think a lot of rights go to guys that had non-forcible felonies. Yeah. Remember, I was 18 years old. He was 17 years old.
What's a forcible felony?
Forcible felony is something aggressive like robbery, kidnapping, burglary. And I'm glad that you asked me that question because this is another thing that they do, okay? Now, I understand that people are going to do wrong, right? When we was young, yeah, we did wrong. But you know what? They sends us to 37 years. They try to give us as much time as possible.
Yep.
Try to just trump it up like crazy. Second degree robbery that has an 85%. Consecutive to a first degree burglary, 25%. They ran the third degree the third degree kidnapping with the second degree robbery and then gave us a 2-year assault with a dangerous weapon that added up to 37 years.
Quick question for you.
Yep.
Do you guys feel like it is an extreme contradiction, the fact that, like you said, you can get all this time for a robbery when the people that founded this country are the biggest robbers, they are the biggest murderers in the history of the world, and people honor them as being heroes, and we redeem their character, but they won't redeem our character? I feel like it's a contradiction.
Because, because how they see it is they're right and justified. They even try to use the Bible for it. You know, I'm a Christian, but they try to cover up that you know, that treachery with the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, but then when it comes to us, it's like, oh, we're bad. We're this kind of people. You know, I brought up something about how we have to be better as a community. Not robbing, not selling dope, but at the same time, anybody that's in poverty, I don't care what color you are, if you're in poverty, that community is going to have some criminal activity there.
Absolutely.
You know, and when it comes to them, they made it seem like we stood up for America. We built America. You know, we shed our blood for America. Absolutely. They don't want to, bring up that we was brought over here and we built America off of our labor. You know, things that got made came from a black person. A lot that was created came from a black person that they took the benefit. Said that they did it when it was really somebody else. So, it is, that's just how they are. But me, I'm like, if we just focus on bettering ourselves as a people, like that picture up there, it's the hand, it's the arms coming out, busting the chains. It's up here. Right now today, when I think about what I used to do, I get kind of ashamed because it's like, I was better than that. I could have used my brain. I'm smarter than having to take anything from anybody.
Yep.
I could have used my brain. Me and BJ was hard workers, man. We would go cut grass, shovel snow. We did that when we was younger. We were some bright individuals. And, at the time, us being young, it was fun. Yes. And, we was under this, misconception that you're real when you're out here in the streets, ripping and running, fighting, robbing, doing your thing, that you're real.
Yeah,
but,
the music and the movies push that, so.
Right, and not only that, but the older people we was around made it seem like this is how you be real.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I got mad about is when I found out the truth is, this ain't real. Because now that I'm older, I need to have a credit score. I need to have a home. I need to have insurance. I need to have a 401k. This stuff matters, and I need to be able to leave something for my children. If I keep going back and forth from the streets to the joint, I could never build nothing. We can never build nothing. But if we get smart and stop doing crime and really use our brains and find a way not to shortcut, but do it the right way, man, we will build.
Yeah, we will.
Go ahead, BJ, if you have anything to say.
Well, I want to know if he has another question.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys highlight any of the exploitation y'all saw within the prison as far as like how much they paid you and how those corporations were making millions of dollars off you guys' labor and kind of how the setups where they violate you on probation because they want you to come back so they can make money and, kind of highlight those things?
Well, go ahead.
I'm going to just say this real quick because, I did a lot of time at Fort Madison, is that they had the shops where they had all them guys going up there paying them 50 cents, and it was really a multi-million-dollar business. Since they complained about it in Fort Madison, you got them guys that do legal work and stuff like that. So they started pressing the issue with them about giving them higher pay because they knew they were making so much money. So it ended up going up to where them in the shops I think they were making $1 or getting close to making $1.
And that's a lot of money in there, probably.
Yeah. And there it's like, you're like, ooh, a whole $1. But in all actuality, man, that is like...
That's slave labor, bro.
Slave labor like a mug.
Where could you survive out here on there? Because, and then the prices of the commissary, they act like we're at Walmart. And we don't have that amount of money, but it doesn't matter. They put the pressure on your family, and they don't feed you real good food. There was only one prison that was left that was doing that, and that was Anamosa. And I heard that they have slowed down on that. Was feeding people decently. It's all about money. The thing about it is everybody already knows this, and the people who are up there in power, they're getting paid. And you think that they're going to change some laws?
No.
Why would they make a law that would cut out their money?
They're not.
I mean, well, I'm just saying. I mean, we can speak on it, but what I'm going to speak on the whole thing. That's what I'm going to do. So while we're sitting here, talking about this, we know that there really is no such thing as rehabilitation. It's not set up for it. It's not set up. If you succeed, it's because you succeeded because of you just, out of spite, you did the opposite of what you knew they were trying to get you to do. That's what I did in there. I knew what they were trying to get me to do, and I did all the opposite. I know they wanted me to sag my pants, so I didn't sag my pants. I know you want me to be loud, so I'm not going to be loud. I know you want me to hang around in a group. I'm not hanging around in groups. I know you want me to be ignorant. I'm intelligent. I know you want me to get all irate with you. No, I'm going to talk to you with sense in a way that's really going to aggravate you, and talk to you with intelligence. I'm going to give you an example. A psychologist come talk to me trying to get me on meds again. So I asked me, do I hear voices? I tell her, yeah, I do. She said, well, what are you hearing? I said, well, I hear something on one side tell me to do something wrong, and then something on the other side tell me to do something right. I said, but I believe it's the devil and God. She said, oh, I'm not talking about that type of thing. I said, oh, no? She said, no, I'm not talking about. No, not nothing like. I said, oh, okay, so you're a believer. You believe in God. She said, yeah. I said, oh, you're doing good. I said, now you just need to get saved. And then, they just like, I'm going to get away from him. He don't need no meds. He does not need no meds. He's really sharp, because he's starting to get on my nerve. He's flipping this thing on me. So, one thing that I always did in there, and I tried to express this to the young guys in there, is I tried to show them how to be an upstanding young black man. You know what I'm saying? And they would say, well, man, I'd have my pants pulled up and my shirt tucked in, and I'd walk past the weight yard and they'd be just looking at me like they seen Moses come down off Mount Sinai with a face glowing, like what am I? God told me, he said, BJ, and he said, man, pull your pants down. I said, what? I want you guys to see my butt. You're a whole bunch of men. I'm not trying to be cool here. I'm not trying to go along with the flow. Another thing is that pay that you guys were talking about. There's a law set up that makes that legal. You know that, right? There's a law set up. There's an amendment. And I think is it the 14th Amendment or the 4th Amendment?
Or is it the 13th?
I think it's the 13th Amendment.
13th, right there.
Remember they made a special on Netflix about it.
Yeah.
It was talking about this. That whole episode was about this. What they're doing is legal. And it's making so much money, and it's keeping those down who they want to be kept down and at bay in this country. I mean, that will never change. It was actually a genius and mastermind idea after slavery ended. It was very carefully orchestrated and crafted. And now what we have now is young black rappers promoting it like it's something cool. When I was younger, it was Eazy-E. He had the prison clothes on. He had the Dickies blue shirt, Dickies jacket, Dickie pants. Now, my dad told me, he said, what in the world? When we go shopping for school, I wanted that stuff. Because, NWA was so huge, I wanted to be cool like them, be bad, because that was what's popular. And I see they had all the girls in the videos. So I'm like, maybe I'll attract some girls. I'm just telling you, this is how they play on these youngsters. So my dad said, what you want a whole bunch of prison clothes for? I said, prison clothes? I didn't even know what he was talking about. I'm like, Dad, it's just Dickies. He said, that's stuff they wear in prison. I'm like, I don't care. Snoop Dogg has it. I don't want it, I want that flannel and I want that stuff. And he would never buy it for me, but I really wanted that stuff. Well, see, now they up the ante. You got Lil Durk did a video, and he's in all federal color khaki with the white t-shirt under. and they look like federal inmates. They both got on the same mask. Now I said, I mean, now you ain't gonna go do no federal time, but you want my son to follow after you while you laugh to the bank, and while my son goes crying to that jail cell, begging me for money like I used to beg my parents for money. You see what I'm saying? No one wants to talk about this. When I talk about this stuff on any social media platform, blacks get quiet. I get no likes. I get no reactions. But then when your son is in jail, you come to me for advice. Well, dang, you could have at least. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand, where do we think that we're going, and how do we think we're going to rise like we always talking about? How can we rise when a lot of these black leaders are not stepping up to the plate to do what is right?
Facts.
You're promoting prison and mass incarceration. And I mean, oh man, this is when I really was done. I think it was Plies. He got a handcuff, a iced out handcuff for a chain. A real handcuff was iced out. I said, yeah, there it is. There it is.
And you know what you're talking about is what I was relating to by it's a lie. It's like, we think this is cool, but it's really not cool.
It looks cool, and it's
going
not
to
cool.
prison ain't cool, and it don't make you real.
Yeah, but the thing it is about, they have the influence and they have the power, and they've been given a stage, and they're paid by most likely they're paid by, their contract comes from a European.
Yeah,
most likely. All of these top labels and record labels are owned by Europeans. Do you think that you're going to get a $5 million contract acting like you're Bill Cosby, talking about us being lawyers and doctors? And no,
never.
They don't want you talking about that. That's not what they want my son to aspire to be. They want him to think that he needs to be thugged out, iced out with some hoes and 5 different baby mamas, so you could never have no actual money ever.
It's true though.
Because it's hard to keep one. It's hard to maintain one woman. But they want you to understand. They want you to. I think some of these rappers, they got 5 and 10 baby mamas, and they can do that because they have the platform and the money and the fame to support all that. But you get my son to acting like that. It's not going to work out for him like that's working out for you. You're going to get my daughter acting like she's Cardi B. You never keep no man with that mouth on you. She has her own money, so she can talk like that. She gets paid to act like that. But you got my daughter wanting to act like Megan Thee Stallion and talking about WAP and Thought and Hot Girl Summer, and all you're going to do is get a baby out of the deal with no daddy to support it. Because men will treat you how you act. Now, this is another thing is I remember Bill Cosby was going around doing seminars, and he was trying to get parents to understand is that we weren't doing our thing with our children as far as education. And they were listening to him, but at the same time, they were bashing him. And they were bashing him because they were more like, well, who you think you are? Well, this is a successful black man that had made it, and he was trying to tell you and show you how you could do the same. And that's the thing about one particular thing about my race is we're very critical of one another. And when it comes time to listen to something that's actually worth listening to, we don't want to hear it because it's not entertaining. And the truth hurts. So I'd just rather just go on social media and laugh at some memes than sit here and listen to what BJ's talking about on this podcast. But then your son is in the same situation of what I'm talking about. Then your mind reflects back to what I said on the podcast, but it's too late because he's sitting there with a 25-year sentence with a 70% that he took a plea on.
Or a life sentence.
That he took a plea on because they was trying to give him 50 years with 70%. So he took the latter because that's what they do to you. And they said, do you really want to take this to trial? We got this stuff against you. You know you're not going to win. And most than likely you won't, because this is Iowa.
Quick question for both of y'all real quick.
Go ahead.
Hold on, before you ask a question, I just want to talk about something that BJ had brought up that's very serious. He got around it, but he didn't go in depth about it. So this is another thing. When it comes to these laws, right? there are certain laws that are unconstitutional that they got people doing life sentences on. The stand your ground law and the felony murder.
Felony murder. They're killing us with that felony murder.
The felony murder. Now, I'm not saying that the real felony murder law is unconstitutional. If you do a robbery and then you kill somebody during the robbery, that's felony murder. You know, you did that. That's what that is. But they have it to where when a willful injury is the predicate to the felony murder. So they're saying you had a gun that you pointed. When you pointed the gun at them, you did willful injury. Then when you shot them, you killed them. So that's how they were getting guys for the felony murder, right? Now, the guys I speak about, all of them that's up under the felony murder or the stand your ground law, somebody was trying to kill them before they killed them.
Oh yeah, that's a bad deal.
So you had that Kyle dude, right? That Kyle dude that they were trying to disarm him, right? Mm-hmm. They wasn't trying to take his gun and use it on him. They were trying to disarm him, right?
Rittenhouse.
Yeah, Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
They were trying to disarm him because he had weapons
at people.
And you know what? He got off scot-free. But I got a friend who, okay, the situation is it was going to be not C. Scott, okay. But Michael Weatherspoon.
Okay.
You know, his girl was somewhere giving somebody a private dance, and the dude wanted sex. She didn't want to give it to him, so he goes up there to get her. Right? The dude don't want to let her out. Attacks him with a knife, and they fight. He gets the knife out of the guy's hand and stabs him, right? You know, during a fight.
Self-defense.
So they said that when he got the knife, he should have ran, or he should have took off when the dude wasn't done fighting.
They wouldn't have ran.
So check this out. The psychiatric report, right? This guy tried to commit suicide. So his psychologist said that this dude was going to fight to the death.
Okay.
Do you know the court threw that out saying that was confidential information?
What?
That's the dirty game about the law.
So a man gets attacked with a knife, ends up. I mean, it's a brawl. Now, my homie was probably about 150 pounds. The dude was like 225, 250. So it's a fight. He gets the knife. The dude's still fighting him. So they said he stabbed him 14 times, and it wasn't necessarily true that he stabbed him 14 times. They counting the cuts too. So dude got stabbed and got cut because you're in a fight. You're stabbing, you're slicing. So altogether, cuts and stabs, it added 14. Up to 14 for dude to calm down and stop fighting. And later on, died at the hospital. So somebody come at us with a knife. We trying to get one of our loved ones out of somewhere. Somebody come at us with a knife. We fight them. So we going to protect ours. Period. Get the knife. We still fighting. Because when that knife drops, we both going for the knife, right?
And you trying to get the knife back from me. I'm not going to let you get this knife back. Yeah. So you got to go. Because you're going to try to kill me. You already had the knife.
So I get the knife. Are you trying to break away from me, or are you still trying to fight? You still trying to fight? You trying to still grab it from me? You leaving me no choice. I'm not turning my back on you because I don't know what else you got. We're going. You know,
the natural man is.
The natural man is. Yeah. And you know what? You got guys in here right now, locked up with licenses, got close to 25 years in, that they're not trying to let out. A matter of fact, there's one situation, the Hemstra, the farmer.
Yeah.
The Iowa farmer. That
his
neighbor got into it over farmland.
Dispute.
Yep, had a dispute over rental property. So one day they meet in the middle of a dirt road where the guy ends up dead, shot in the head.
He tried to hide it.
The dude drags him to a well in his truck, and throws him in a well and hides it. And this guy gets out on the felony murder with willful injury being the predicate because the U.S. Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional. So when they let him out, they shut the door on everybody else and said they were not going to make it retroactive, and shut the door on everybody that else would fall up under there. Yep. So that's how America does things.
Yeah,
they gonna keep the black man locked up.
Who they want, who the law was created for. See, secretly.
And in them cases, these was guys standing up for themselves. Now I'm gonna say the same thing, and I'm gonna just end with this. Instead of them meeting on the dirt road, why didn't they meet in court? Why didn't he call the police? Okay, if he called the police and that didn't work, why didn't they take it to court? Like they would tell one of us, oh, we met in the dirt road and I shot him. Well, why didn't y'all go to the police or handle it in court?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're not going to
get away with that.
So he could have handled that in court. He didn't go to court. He went to the middle of the dirt road where nobody would be around.
He held court in the street. That's what they would have told us.
And put it right in the middle of his head.
Yeah.
Put the bullet right in the middle of his head.
That was, yeah.
Dragged him with his truck to a well and then threw his body in the well and tried to hide it. And that man only did 3 years in prison until the Supreme Court said that it was unconstitutional for him to be sentenced like that. But I got homies in there right now under that same sentence that in every situation that I'm speaking on, somebody was coming over to kill them. They just came out the victor. So it was self-defense, stand your ground.
Yeah, Jaron Parker. Do you remember that?
What's that?
He got stabbed to death. The guy said that he had the knife and he got the knife from him. And he ended up stabbing Jaron to death. Mm-hmm. And he has defensive wounds too. He has defensive wounds where he's trying to stop him from stabbing him. Mm-hmm. That guy never went to prison. Yeah. Never went. They said that Jaron was high and he would come over here starting trouble, and that's what happened. So I mean, they do what and Jaron's black and the guy's white. So they do what they want to do for who they want to do it for, laws or no laws. It's the same thing with the parole board or whatever, or being out on parole. They have the rules, the policies, and the laws set up for they can have so many loopholes to where they can use it however they want to use it. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I'll give you an example. I know a guy who has a lot of time and he's on parole. They let him go out of town, and he's got a ways to discharge. They let him go, to a different state on vacation. But I only had 3 months left to discharge, and I had asked if I can go to Mississippi for a family reunion, and they would not let me go. So it's like everybody's an individual. They don't treat everybody the same. They made me do all my time on parole. They let Charles Brewton off years early. They let him go due to good behavior. Now, mind you, I had good behavior too, but they treat everyone as an individual. You see what I'm saying? So, it's kind of tricky and how they do things, but there's no sense of trying to figure it out because you never will.
So a question for both of y'all. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about collectively coming together to organize the power felons to get this real second chance that you guys are talking about?
Well, what I'm trying to do right now is just do the simplest thing is to get them to vote. If a person is an ex-felon and you're able to vote, there's 20,000 of us and only a couple thousand voted. If we could just simply come together, that would be a major start. Coming together and vote, power in the vote. Mm-hmm. That's how a lot of things are going to get done, showing that we came together to vote.
I agree. Really, I personally don't care for politics because they lie so much. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of they're Republican, Democratic. You're gonna find flaws in any party because you're dealing with human beings, and I have not met a perfect human being yet. But I would, if there is one, I would like to meet him and rub shoulders with him, and maybe it will rub off on me. So, but until that happens, you know, you're merely dealing with just human beings. You know, no one is godlike. You know, that type of status where you're just above everything that normal human beings go through. We're all going through the same type of things. We all have emotions. None of us are perfect. Some of us make mistakes. Some of us willingly make mistakes. It does not matter if you're Democratic or Republic. It does not matter, you know. And some people say, well, yeah, you pick the lesser evil. Well,
but you know what that's all about, though? Really, they have this Democrat and Republican, just to keep division.
Yep.
Keep us separated. Because really, you know what it is?
Yep.
And what people need to focus on is the government versus the people.
yeah.
That part.
Yep. That's what it needs to just
It's a distraction.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
Yes.
When it just because the government is doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
No matter if they're Democrat or Republican,
Doesn't
they
matter.
all really got. It's about who's going to get all the money.
Yeah.
But they got the same agenda. So it's just really the people.
Yeah.
Just need to focus on.
true.
No matter what you are, just coming together and getting things changed.
That's really true because the IRS, the CIA, the FBI, and all others alike, the ATF, and all these big time people, the Pentagon, everybody. I mean, they're not Democrat or Republican. They're powers that be, no matter who's in there,
Government
and they're going to do what they're going to do, no matter what. Ultimately. So, like he said, you know, we're focused on. They get us to focus on a president. When you need to be going down to the courthouse and going down to see what bills are being passed and what bills are pending. I mean, you got all these family members that got lifers they're trying to get out, but they're never down at the courthouse. You don't know what's going on. You don't even know what's going on. It's like they're passing a law to keep your family member in there. You think you might want to come down this weekend? Oh, I don't got time for that. Okay. I mean, what? And you will never know all the stuff that they're doing unless you go down there, because they're not going to put that stuff in the paper. What they're going to put in the paper is the one that they want you to focus on, the bill they want you to focus on.
Right.
Then they're going to pass 4 or 5 other bills under the table that you won't even know or hear about unless you make your presence felt down there at the Capitol.
That is true.
That you can't even vote on.
You can't even
vote on. It's like all of a sudden it's just passed.
Yeah,
We're passing this. We put a bill in. Oh, it got to go through here and here. But yeah,
That's another thing. It doesn't really, that's the thing. Say we get a bill passed that we want. They make other bills to make it not work. And these bills that they make to make it not work are not even in the minds of the people because they're not promoted. Oh, okay, y'all coming that way? Okay, all right, we'll relent. And then they're going to do everything in their power to make sure. They do it in prison all the time. They'll make a law and say, oh, it's retroactive. Then they'll say, oh, well, now we're not going to let you out because of this generic note. What? Yeah, this generic note. But I don't got no reports. I don't have any majors. I don't have any. This officer said that you did this. Yeah, but it hasn't went through the procedures of an administrative law judge. Nothing was ever written up. I wasn't given a chance to shoot my spill and plead innocence of the accusations. This is a new thing that's going on in the prison now. It's called the generic note. That's what's holding people in prison now. So, and it gives them all the power. It gives them all the power, and they don't have to go through any of the regular procedures that they would have to go through to find you guilty of an accusation. And that's that's an example of, it doesn't matter what type of, what gets passed and all that, because they just come up with something to squash it all. They come up with something to squash it all. They'll pass a bill that makes me eligible to go home. Then they create rules in there to keep me that are not even laws or even actual policy rules.
Constitutional. We got like a minute left.
Okay.
Can we get like some closing feedback that you'll give to either the youth or felons? Like a message that you would like to send them? I
would like to give one to the youth. I I want y'all to know that y'all have an opportunity to be great. Don't go down that path of thinking that, robbing, stealing, selling dope is how you be real. How you be real is you getting an education, starting your own business, being wealthy and buying some land and having something to pass down to your family, to your kids. Now that's being real. And that's really being gangster, holding it down. And to the felons, I just want to say, make up your mind to leave the streets alone. You got to do something different, and, stay focused on succeeding. It's never too late. No matter how old you are, just start down that right path and just stick to it. It's consistency. And God bless you.
What I have to say to the youth is, when you're listening to that music and you hear what the rappers are saying, just look at it as entertainment, because that's really all it is. Don't take the lyrics literally, because they're not living that lifestyle anymore. If they was ever living that lifestyle, they're not anymore. And but don't you be the fool and take their lyrics literally and do what they're talking about. You don't have to do nothing but set yourself back. I've been there, done that, and I've been in that situation, and it's not fun. They don't rap about that part. They only rap about the good part. They don't rap about the repercussions. Nobody's rapping about what Big Meech is going through right now from BMF. To the ex-felons, you just got to, you got to keep your circle tight, and anybody that's not on the right path, you don't want them around you, because you're not trying to reoffend. You're not trying to catch a new case. One thing that I make sure I do is stay away from any place that I feel like I need a pistol. If I feel like I need a pistol, I don't want to be around it. I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun if I have to keep my guards up and watch everybody around me. That's not fun to me. What fun to me is being with my wife and my kids. That's living life to me. You might think it's boring, but hey, I'm free. While the guys are having fun in jail, if you consider that fun. I don't think that stuff is fun to me. I like falling asleep with my kids and watching Disney movies now and falling asleep with them and waking up with them and going to go do a job and do my job and bring and provide for my family, something I cannot do if I'm incarcerated.
Speak your truth.